reportings of crimes as opposed to a survey of crime. And they said that there was an 8% increase in the number of offences involving knives or sharp instruments in the 12 months to March. And of course, we've seen a lot of reporting of knife crime, and it turns out it's more than anecdotal. It is rising. Why is this happening now? Well,
in addition to those stats, Andrew, the one I think that is really, really serious is the charge rate. So the charging rate is down to 13.8%. It's halved in 4 years.
It's the lowest, I think, for quite some time, isn't it?
And Cressida Dick, the Met Commissioner, talked about this a couple of weeks ago quite quietly, and it got some pick-up on the BBC. That's the one that I think is stand out. So it's not only that the figures are going in the wrong direction, it's the fact that we're not arresting and charging people for those offences.
In England and Wales, it's now down to the lowest level recorded.
Yeah, so it's 13%, which means 97% of crime is going without charge. So that means the people that are carrying these blades, the people that are doing these robberies, the people that are infesting children and young people's minds with drug-related crimes, the county lines, all of these things, where we have taken... part of it is around austerity, yes, the cuts to the police service, the extraordinary cuts to local government, where there isn't any glue left in local government to prevent kids ending up in these scenarios. But we can't ignore that charge rate. I think that has fundamentally changed, and I think it's the one that worries me the most.
The National Chair of the Police Federation for England and Wales says the inconvenient truth is that austerity has taken money out of the public sector and has contributed in getting us into this situation. What do you say to that?
Well, I agree with Louise. There has been, we had to get our public finances back under control after the financial crisis. And overall, of course, the national debt has ballooned from about 800 billion to almost £2 trillion over that period. But there are some parts of the public sector, I'm completely with you, Louise, where there have been absolute falls in spending, not just slowdowns.
And that includes local government.
And that absolutely includes local government. Where I live, outside the M25, your local police station's been closed down. There's not a local police station literally 4 miles. And I think that is contributing to the really worrying fall in I mean, it's not a clear-up rate, is it? When the assumption must be among criminals now that they won't be charged.
Yeah.
And I think that's largely because of a lack of, it's a cliche, but bobbies on the beat, police cars knocking around, knowledge of local communities, and the public finances are in better shape now. I'm always going to be somebody who's on the cautious side of the debate about this, having, worked in financial services markets, seen currency...
Because they're all falling over themselves to promise more money for
and
the
all the
police.
rest of it. There is surely room now in the public finances to increase spending in these key areas.
Miatta, when you look at the overall picture, it's a little bit mixed. I mean, overall levels of crime have been falling in recent decades. I mean, if you take a longer horizon, the picture's quite encouraging. But obviously, knife crime and the increase in that, the 8% rise is
violent crime. So, I mean, long-term, there was long-term investment in the infrastructure required to reduce crime, and so we were reaping the benefits of it. But, when you do it against the backdrop of communities that are under huge amounts of pressure, where we see people, 40 million people that are in poverty, where there are families that can't look after their kids, can't put food on their table, and then you put on top of that austerity, you cut your police, but it's not just your police, it's your preventative services, it's all the soft stuff that helps steer kids away from trouble.
And you agree with that, Louise Casey?
What do you expect?
Because you've been on the front line on this.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. And I think that it has been this extraordinary cut where basically local authorities are down to bin collections every 3 weeks, and if we're lucky, they safeguard children and old people. But, even that's scratching at the surface. I think, though, Andrew, the criminals have got clever. So the whole drugs market is profoundly worrying. That drugs czars or these nasty criminals are able to groom young people and pull them into
This is the county lines issue.
County lines. So, we're picking up kids in places like Norfolk who are being essentially groomed and run by gangs. And the police, either because of resources or because of other issues, we haven't been on that. So I think austerity is the driving force behind these rises. And I think that we are not clever enough in how we deal with crime.
All right, we'll leave it there. I thank you all for being with me.